Hello and welcome to the Homestead National Monument of America, the site of America's very first homestead land. I'm Lance Schwartz, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you some of the very interesting people and places of our town Beatrice. Sit back and relax. Here we go. Beatrice is located 50 miles straight south of Lincoln along Highway 77. Our town Beatrice is the 15th largest city in the state of Nebraska with a population of 12,459. Lorraine Riedesal is a very proud Nebraskan, and she knows this state well from coast to coast. The daughter of a pastor, she's lived out west in the Panhandle, and she's lived in the east along the Missouri River in Peru, Nebraska. And for many years, she's called our town Beatrice her home.
This is the place where we protect that homesteader history, and I am proud of being the descendant of a homesteader. Many homesteaders.
Lorraine Riedesal is what you might call a Nebraska history junkie.
I had the chance when this job opened up in Beatrice, I really was excited about, one, the Homestead National Monument. I thought to be the public library director in the town that's associated with homesteading, and two, there was this fabulous old Carnegie building. It's the oldest one remaining in the state.
This pastor's daughter has spent the majority of the past 4 decades immersing herself into the history that makes Nebraska so special.
What I love about this map is it not only has Nebraska towns, it has Nebraska railroad stops where you could pick up your mail.
The Heritage Room in the Beatrice Public Library is Lorraine's history wonderland.
I'm thrilled that you're here today because we have all kinds of special treasures in this room, including many books that are about early Nebraska territory before Nebraska was even a state, about early Beatrice and Gage County history, as well as collectibles that relate to the people who lived in Beatrice.
The director of the Beatrice Public Library has been hunting and gathering valuable Cornhusker State primary sources for the past 40 years.
We realized that our history was included in books that were now considered to be rare and unusual, and we began to deliberately acquire those. They also turned out to be collectible in places on the east and west coasts, and we did not want to see our history disappear. So we started buying all kinds of things related to those early years in Nebraska.
Inside the Heritage Room, you'll find a very unique collection of historical books.
This is a good example. I was lucky enough to find this at an antique store in Lincoln, and much to my amazement, it is the tax lists by lot of Gage County in 1888.
As you can clearly see, Lorraine really gets a kick out of showing off the library's historical treasures.
This one I really love. It's one of my first things I ever bought for this. It's an 1854 book called Kansas and Nebraska, and of course what I really loved was the map.
Lorraine has an insatiable hunger for knowledge of Nebraska.
You know, what I always tell people is this room is Nebraska past, present, future. Now, most people can figure out the past because they think, okay, she's going to have a bunch of historic stuff. And they can sort of figure out the present because they think, well, she must have something that's just come out recently. But the future, I collect planning documents. Well, that's not very surprising, is it? If this just whet your appetite to learn more about Nebraska's history, I invite you to plan a visit to the Heritage Room at the Beatrice Public Library. I am positive that Lorraine and her staff would love to share some of their impressive historical knowledge with you. There are many grand old buildings in downtown Beatrice that are upwards of 140 years old. And many of those structures are at the top of the list when it comes to Beatrice's ongoing downtown facade improvement program.
So the building that we have here behind us is one of our buildings that's going to be undergoing some facade renovations here within the next year.
Michael Sothen is the executive director of Main Street Beatrice, and he says this beautification program has created quite a buzz.
One of the nice things about this facade improvement program and just some of the other development that's going on downtown is we're expecting around $3 million total dollars in downtown building improvements. And so that's actually physically improvements being made to the buildings both inside and out.
Michael says it's been decades since Beatrice has seen that type of investment into the downtown community.
So it's really exciting. We've seen a lot of new business growth. So we've been seeing, I think here over the last about year and a half, we've seen about 28 new businesses come to downtown.
And one of those new businesses is Colleen's Catering, which is relocating into this building that was erected in 1922.
We really wanted to get involved with the revitalization of historic downtown Beatrice. And when we saw this building that was for sale, we jumped on it.
Colleen Shonowise is a Beatrice native that was adamant about being a part of this exciting preservation project.
We really wanted to focus on downtown Beatrice and just find something down here because it's so neat when you see other downtowns that are just complete and they look nice.
Well, I'm co-owner of the Black Crow restaurant. My husband and I started it together, and we opened in 1993, so it was 24 years ago.
Kate Radigan will turn the empty space beside the Black Crow into an outdoor dining area.
And we hope to make it a very attractive space for the downtown rather than just a blank hole or an old, decrepit looking building. So it's going to definitely improve the look of the downtown streetscape.
Obviously, it's a full gut job.
Todd Heido appears to have one of the greatest challenges along Main Street.
We purchased the building approximately a year ago. It was pretty close to disrepair. It's kind of my hobby to save old buildings, and so we're saving the building here for future development.
A big reason why Todd and his wife want to improve downtown is because Todd literally grew up along Court Street.
We went through some dark ages. We finally got some positive vibes in the town, so we're going to run with it here and see what we can get done.
Michael says he is expecting to see a great deal of aesthetic improvements over the course of the next year. So by the end of 2018, Beatrice visitors should be able to see what $3 million can do to improve downtown, our town, Beatrice. Around our town, Beatrice, Sue McLean is known as yesterday's lady. It's not uncommon to see her walking around the supermarket in a vintage 60-year-old dress. She has a fascination with vintage clothing, and she enjoys sharing her passion with the world. This 130-year-old Victorian-style building provides the perfect setting for a vintage clothing museum.
Hi, I'm Sue McLean. Welcome to the Schmuck Building. Are you ready to step back in time with yesterday's lady? Here we go.
Sue and her husband Mike have renovated every square inch of this magnificent structure.
Here we are in the main part of yesterday's lady, and dresses over here are from the 1930s.
Yesterday's lady includes a wide variety of artifacts, ranging from the 1840s through the 1970s.
This is the oldest dress in my collection. This dress is from the 1840s.
This York native started collecting clothing about 30 years ago when she began to decorate her house.
I bought a pair of high-top boots, a dress form, and a hat, and now I have over 2,000 pieces. It kind of exploded. This is a 1965 Exarban ball gown, and it was made in New York City.
Many of these items have been given to Sue.
I don't have to purchase a lot of things. A lot of things are just given to me. I guess entrusted to me to share.
With more than 2,000 items, Sue calls this Nebraska's largest private collection of vintage clothing.
Down the hall that leads to the vintage salon, we have several different dresses hanging here, the 1880s.
Fashionistas could no doubt get lost in here.
This is the vintage salon, and this is where I hold birthday parties, bridal showers, baby showers, and I have a little bit of everything in this room, but my favorites are the dresses up here.
These are the frocks that girls wore to prom and in weddings.
These are the types of dresses my mother let me play in that really sparked my passion for dressing up in vintage clothes.
Sue's guests learn about the fashions from the past and always leave with a greater appreciation for why we should treasure these artifacts.
Glazed cotton lining to add fullness. They come in here and they open the door and just go, and they're just blown away. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
As a speaker for Nebraska Humanities, Sue travels the state and the Midwest, entertaining groups with a wide selection of fashion programs and shows. Do your group a favor and invite Sue to share her passion for fashion on the road or in her incredible museum. Coming up in our town Beatrice, we'll meet a man that learned a very important lesson in life. And we'll find out why the community players have continued to be such a vital part of this community for so long. We'll be right back.